Cited by the biggest hat in the store. Onto you, Badooba, Brian.
It's got fucking men's big and tall. Like, where did you find
Walgreens. The other ones
Walgreens big and tall?
The others were too tiny. I had to get the giant hat or a yarmulke. But
well, it's just in time for Hanukkah.
Exactly. We almost forgot it was kind of cold outside because we just watched the summer episode.
It's like they are having fun. Well, let's go outside. Oh shit! It's still like 20 degrees.
Not only that, but apparently, yeah, summer in Stars Hollow looks like 1967. This is happening simultaneously to like Hair.
I think they were wearing the wardrobe from Hair.
Just Nancy Sinatra popping up on the soundtrack. I'm just assuming that's not put in there in post. That's just actually playing in the town. It's like whenever you see a Vietnam movie and you just got to assume that CCR is just playing in the jungle.
Somewhere it is just blaring as a helicopter goes overhead. Just has to happen.
That's what it told me in the history books. But we forgot. Oh yeah, to get into what we forgot to talk about last time. We got to see Mr. Kim for the first time in the last episode.
Yeah, we completely glazed over that once we actually got to the point of talking about it. But yeah, in the spring chapter, there was the fleeting 2 seconds screen time of Lane being like, it's like, yeah, so things are cool here at the food festival. Oh, hey, look, there goes my dad. Cuts to some old Asian man just,
hello.
Cuts
and
back.
I must have sat there with just this stone cold look on my face for like 3 seconds and then just went, is that the first time we've ever seen him?
Yep.
Wow, it's like seeing Niall's wife for the first time. If you were to ever see that.
It's just one of those weird moments when you stop to think about it, because
I had to stop and think about it, yeah.
You only ever see Mrs. Kim and Lane and no one else in that house. Well, occasionally, like, and also 50 other Korean people in the house, because it's some holiday or some festival day, or she's training like an orchestra of...
Lane's house is Koreatown. Just the house.
So it's... Yeah, but she always does mention, though, like, it's like, no, my parents said I can't. It's like, she did always use, like, a plural form. You just never saw him.
Yeah, he's too busy hanging out with Norm Peterson's wife.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah. There was a lot of really fun stuff in this episode. I really want to go see the Stars Hollow musical. Just one, if you don't like it, it's only like 10 minutes long. It seems like we saw from beginning to end that musical.
And that's the thing, is like, we did see an awful lot of that musical. And I know from some reviews I've seen, like, most people have pinpointed that as like, oh man, the whole like reunion show thing is great. And also there's the musical.
Really? No one likes that?
Just because of how long it goes on.
It did go on long.
It was kind of one of those things, I think, that because they had the liberty of that much real estate, like, it's like, well, we've got all this room, might as well use it. And a lot of people, I think, felt like you could have characterized a little bit more what was going on with, like, you know, add a little more screen time for, like, Rory figuring out what she's doing, or like, you know, like, hey, Emily's up to some kind of offbeat stuff this episode, focus on that a little bit more. Nope. Like, 10 solid minutes of musical numbers.
The only thing, when it got towards the end of that, I was thinking in my head, like, yeah, if this were on television, this would have been largely shortened. I did think that. I was like, this is going on a while.
Like, I think it would have, like, we would have, if this was just a standard broadcast episode, we would have seen the beginning part.
Yeah.
With well, it would have taken out the whole like repeating Taylor joke. We would have seen like the beginning musical number, at least the start of it, to show like the whole like weird black eye thing and like whoa, musical number, and then like 2 lines in, it would have like done a hard cut.
It would have done like maybe like a transition to show like to show the end of it.
Yeah, and then like
up.
And now we're in like the big like medley at the end.
Yeah, it would have done like the Simpsons episode where they were doing the musical Streetcar Named Desire. I didn't. I did think like this is going on a while, but I was laughing quite a bit in it, honestly, during that. And one thing I liked about this episode, well, real quick, if I did have one complaint about the musical, is that I was genuinely confused how Kirk didn't end up as the lead in it. He's not in this episode at all.
Yeah, I don't think he is, unless he's in like just a background shot. I know that his pet pig Petals was at the town meeting. But I didn't pay attention. I assumed that Kirk was there.
No, he just sent the pig maybe he's sick. He was on vacation, and he sent the pig to take notes for him in the town meeting.
And honestly, if he's not in that scene, that works for me, because that is such a fucking Kirk thing to do. Just be like, I can't make it today. Petals, go take notes. Don't leave anything out this time.
Well, we needed the play this. We needed the play, though, because it gave us the Bunheads Gilmore Girls crossover. Sutton Foster is the lead in the play. No, but I do. What I didn't really mind about the play, honestly, was that there is a lot of really lighthearted stuff in this episode. Between Rory working at the newspaper, and
I think it kind of works like. In a way, like, watching it by itself, like, just on its own merits, it did seem to kind of slow a little bit through the middle part, just because the long musical part, like, so much was centered around that. Like, not even just, like, while they're actually doing the musical, but all, like, the town meeting stuff about it, and then, like, the pre-meeting, and then, like, the wrap-up meeting, like a good chunk of this episode has to do just specifically with the musical. But I think watching these like all in a line, like assuming you're following the Netflix trend of just binge watching straight through it, I think it kind of works in that regard, though, because with the heavy themes that they hit in the first episode, dealing with, like, showing, like, what happened at Richard's funeral, showing, them, like, all finally coming back together afterwards and trying to deal with it. Like, there were some heavy themes in that. Plenty of comedy, but it was the heavier one. And then last episode, Spring, with, like...
everything with Rory.
Yeah, like basically her life just sort of, like, just unwinding and spiraling out of her control. Like, basically everything that she tries to do in Spring just is her falling flat on her face each time. So I think that, like, this kind of works as, like, this is that sort of, like, that beat that it needed, where, like, in a normal season run, like, not that I'm necessarily saying that this is the same, but in a normal series run, like, this would be, like, the filler episode, where it's like, instead of like, it's like, hey, school's been rough on you, kiddo, and we've got all this going on, and like, I just Emily and Richard are pissed at me again, I don't know what to do, let's take a road trip.
Sometimes we need an episode of Hurley fixing a van.
Exactly.
But what I liked about that, though, is because there's a lot of really funny stuff in this episode, between a lot of stuff with the play, the town meetings, and also the 30-something crowd, which is a group of 30-something-year-olds who have returned to Stars Hollow and are living back at home and don't know what to do with their lives.
How did Babette phrase it. They went to college and they went out into the real world and it chewed them up and spat them back out.
And they keep running into Rory and saying that, are you going to join us? We're having our this one giant milkshake of a bunch of straws out of it. We're having our There Will Be Blood viewing party. It's our drink your milkshake. We love every Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
It's like just the matter of fact way, the way she even like phrases it. It's like, like we like every Paul Anderson movie. We're the 30-somethings.
We're the 30-something crowd.
Like, wow, you're really putting a button on the hipster generation there.
That reminded me so hard. Well, not so much necessarily the 30-something crowd, but more so like Rory coming back, everyone saying, my God, you're back. I'm not back. My God, you're back. I'm not back. When Dave moved back from Chicago.
It's like, oh man, it's so cool Dave moved back. No, I'm visiting, man. I'm back for like a month. I'm heading back up.
Just visiting, man. Just visiting. This would have been like when he first started regularly showing up in the midnight screenings, like the summer where like we all saw like Prometheus and stuff like that. Like that was around when Dave came back and he's like, oh no, just back, just not full time, full time,
just in between, stopping through.
Flash forward, now married with a kid, just living right a stone's throw away, right the fuck over there.
Not for that RV, we could see their place.
Exactly. If there wasn't an RV right there, we would be able to see Dave's place. But it's okay. He's just here visiting.
One of these days, he's going to be like fucking 75 and just suddenly like, it's like, hey man, I haven't seen you in a week. Like, no, I moved out to like Plymouth. Like, what?
Nah,
like, just moved out to, I told you guys I wasn't staying. It's like, what?
Look, man, I told you I wasn't staying. I'm back up here in Wrigleyville. Really?
If Dave ever calls me 75 years old and says I've moved back to Wrigleyville, I'm going to assume that he's just got dementia.
If Dave calls me...
just wandered up to Chicago.
If Dave calls me at 75 years old, my response is going to be, whoa, what the fuck? I made it to 77.
Doing good.
Yeah, fuck. I told you you should have been eating like shit.
Beat the spread on that one.
Mm-hmm. Damn right. But I like that there's a lot of honestly about the first half of it, maybe a little more. There is a lot of really lighthearted stuff in here between the newspaper, between the play, the 30-something crowd, and things like that. But it does show you that there is still some serious stuff going on here, because when it first shows Emily Gilmore in this, like, wow, everyone's like kind of having a fun time here, or at least the tone at least, and then like, oh wow, like this is at the same time a relatively serious show at times.
She is still a grieving widow.
Yeah, fuck, going through obvious depression. So
yeah, as we've kind of with everybody else, like, trying their damnedest to move forward. It's, and by the usual way that these things go, like each generation removed is like a little like handling it better. Like Rory has like so much other stuff going on that she's she mentions it, but it's not like the forefront of her thoughts. And like with Lorelai, it's kind of back and forth sometimes, but you got to remember, like, it's like for Emily, like this is still like fucking 50-year marriage.
Yeah.
And we've seen her kind of like immediately following the funeral and everything, and trying to keep up appearances, and then getting kind of weird there when she started to try to go like to therapy. When she was doing that whole like, I'm gonna give away all of my belongings if they don't please me, like just weird, trying to like rearrange her life thing. And then now she's just suddenly like Rory calls her and she's Emily's still in bed at noon and just acting super fucking weird.
Yeah, oh, don't worry, the fourth episode she'll be wanting to make a code of dogs. Well, hell, Ray Weiss. She's got Ray Weiss now, so the fall is gonna get weird in Stars Hollow.
It's like, have you met your father's friend, Leland Palmer?
You and I had to look at IMDb. We were like, did he ever show up on the actual series?
Seems like he could have.
Yeah, it seems like he could have been one of Richard's friends.
Like, it wouldn't have been out of place.
No,
And I took a look, and he was in damn near every other show that was on, like, in those, like, couple years.
Fucking everything from Dawson's Creek to, like, Charmed.
He was pretty much everywhere they needed somebody who looks charismatic and good in a suit, but very sinister. You're not sure if maybe he is or is not the devil.
Oh, I've seen God's Not Dead, too. I know he's the devil. That damn America-hating ACLU son of a bitch. They sure showed him at the end of that movie. He has a line in that movie where he's like, I hate them. I hate all of them and their kind. Talking about the teacher who said Jesus in class.
I hate all of them and their kind.
It's a terrible fucking movie.
I'm sure there was some writer sitting around like, I bet that's exactly what those pricks at the ACLU say every day when they're protecting everyone's rights. Fucking fascists.
I don't think that's true, David A.R. White. I don't. What the fuck, man? Thanks for giving me a laugh, though. We did get... When you were mentioned earlier about, like, there's a lot of time devoted to the play when it could be something else. We could have had, like, it was nice to have one scene of Jess in this.
True. Looking fucking
stacked! God damn!
Like, he just suddenly shows up and, Milo Ventimiglia has always been in shape in stuff.
Uh-huh.
But, like,
if he wanted to play lanky in something, he could.
Yeah,
like in Rocky Balboa.
Or even like when Jess first shows up on Gilmore Girls, like he's just kind of, like he's in shape, but he's like that kind of like skinny like teenager in shape.
Yeah.
Where it's like just he's athletic enough.
Mm-hmm.
And or even like on something like Heroes, like he was in shape, but he was like real like just thin, like lean muscle, like just an in shape guy. And then he shows up on this, and he's like, it's like sitting down, and just fucking guns out. It's like, fuck, man.
I loved seeing him back because of the three main boyfriends, hands down, easily the best one. He's the one who had the best arc for one. Actually, I think he's the one who had the only arc between the three of them.
That's what I've been noticing. Like, I'm still going back through and rewatching all the old seasons, and yeah, like when Dean shows up, it's just like, hi, I'm Dean. Mm-hmm. And it's, I don't know, he's always doing like neck shit. Like he's always like moving it.
Fine,
never mind.
I'll dance.
Like he's just always like doing neck stuff, but like he just like shows up, and you know that they're a happy couple because he may or may not show up in an episode, but then like at some point someone will be like, it's like, so how are things with your boyfriend Dean? It's like, they're good, he's great. It's like, I guess he is. Like,
sure, as long as I don't have to look at him.
Like, she keeps saying he's great, but every time we see him, it's always like, why can't a woman just be in the kitchen and make pie? It's like, you raise a fair point there, buddy.
And he was always, from beginning to end, a shitbag. Jess, on the other hand, begins as the bad kid. Begins as someone you probably wouldn't want your daughter dating.
He's a shitty influence, but...
Yeah, but he has an arc.
Almost immediately, you can tell, like, he actually gives a shit about Rory.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like, he's the only one that actually has, like, a real, like, growth, like, path through it and not just, like, moping around.
Yeah, he does have growth. Like, he starts out just total shitbag. Even when he's with Rory, he does a lot of shitbag stuff. But it's a guy who's trying to be a good person, to where by the end of the series, he's a good dude. When he shows up in this, He is a good guy.
He's very well adjusted.
And when he had, but still a little bit of jest too. When he has one of my favorite parts in it, when he and Luke hug each other outside the window, but he's still jest, so he takes Luke's hat and throws it. One of my new favorite characters is Bootsy.
I fucking love Bootsy, man.
Like, what was the back and forth he and Luke had last week? Or the last episode, something like, I've lived in this town the longest. No, I was born 3 weeks before you.
It's like no one has lived in this town longer than me. Like, it's like, well, technically I was born 3 weeks before you, buddy. I have lived here longer than you, my friend.
It's like it's like that guy you see in every show like this who's like, there's always the one guy who's like from Queens, but not. He's technically from the town. It just seems like he should.
If anyone ever questions it, like, it's like, oh yeah, no, Max, he spent like a summer abroad in New York City like 20 years ago. I was like, he came back like that ever since.
Well, that actor, I always forget, it's an actor I enjoy quite a bit, but I always forget his name. He was one of the neighborhood guys in Summer of Sam.
Makes sense.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, this one, like, ragging on Luke about at the community pool, Luke put up the money so that they could have, like, a little, like, storage house thing for, like, pool floaties, and someone damaged it. So during the town meeting, for whatever reason, Taylor doesn't want to deal with the fact that there are vandals in town suddenly. So he keeps ignoring the fact that it was damaged. So yeah, every time he brings it up, Bootsy it's like, oh my god, you in the pool floaty box, like, get a room already.
All right, everyone, out of the pool. That's how Luke lifeguards. Just make sure no one goes in the pool. That makes his job a lot easier.
And then he runs it the same way he would the diner.
Oh, we got April back in this one.
Which is so weird because you see her and it's like, yep.
Oh yeah,
that's April.
That's April.
She still looks like she's 12 years old. And one of her first lines is like, it's like, I'm an adult now, Dad. I'm 22. It's like, yeah. Huh.
I thought I liked what they did with her in this. She was always one of those characters who usually when you would see people making a list of their least favorite characters, she was always on there. She was never a character that I really disliked. The only thing that I maybe disliked about the character was not so much her, but she definitely seemed like she was kind of just a tool to wedge something between Lorelai and Luke.
Yeah. It's like, things are going well. It's like, here's your daughter, Luke. It's like, huh.
And it was always like the thing, and it's in this episode too. It was a thing that drove me nuts with that whole plot line with April on the show, which was, okay, Luke and Lorelai are totally great together, but my God, just simple communication will make all the goddamn fucking difference in the world. It's not that fucking hard. You should probably try it sometime. And by God, 9 years later, it's in this episode too. Yeah, not involving April, but
they're right back to the same, like, square of, it's like, just not talking to each other about very important life moments that the other one should know. Like, yeah, like, it drives this fucking wedge between them right to the very end of the episode where it's like they have this huge blowout fight because Luke still never mentioned that he went location scouting with Emily.
Yeah.
And Lorelai never mentioned that she's still been going to therapy.
And without her mom and without Emily, like, there's no downside to not communicating that to the other person.
Yeah, it would have taken 3 seconds, and I doubt, like, Luke might have had, like, it's like, what, really? You're not crazy, though. Response. If she was like, yeah, like, so fucking Emily decided not to come back to therapy. I mean, I don't know, I'm still gonna go. Like, that's all it would have taken.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wow, you're not crazy. It's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
not.
It would have been like a 5-minute conversation over dinner, and then it would have not been talked about again.
Well, I mean, at least...
And the fact that he finds out about it the day this happens.
Yeah.
Which is also the day he goes location scouting.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also just flat out lies to her face about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like some sort of like, well, I know you're holding out on me, so I'm going to hold out this on you.
Why?
And so
You're both adults!
So we both just explode at each other with hatred.
Yeah, and then you have to give food away for free on the house.
The amount of food he gives away free by just shooing people out of there, it's like, I don't know how he turns a profit.
Well, on the plus side, at least Lorelai told him she's going on a walkabout.
So there's that.
Again, that is not an easier alternative than just communicating with each other. Reenacting wild.
It's like, so I'm gonna go fuck off into the woods for 3 weeks, probably. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I honestly, like, I do totally get, because, well, we find out later on in the episode is that Rory wants to write a novel based on their lives. I do kind of see from Lorelai's point of view why I do. Like, I get it. I get it. Believe me, I get Rory being frustrated about it, that Lorelai doesn't want her to write a book about their lives. I get why with that Rory would be frustrated, but I also understand Lorelai's point of view too.
Yeah, I mean, well, because every time like any bit of her past has come up, especially in regards to her mother, like it's always been a point of contention. Like you know, like, oh, things were going really good, and like that one time that Emily came to Stars Hollow to visit that time, and then she found out that like it's like, oh, when did you break your leg? You never told me. And then she got all fucking weird for a while, or like, then she decided to come back to town. Like, it's like, yeah, let's try this again. And it's like, Rory's like, oh, here's like the shed out behind the inn that we lived in for 5 years.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, they'd rather be homeless than come to me with anything.
Or like them saying, like, I don't want my mother to know that I accidentally left you in a bucket at the grocery store.
Or just all the weird times like that, like you know, it's come up that like that woman who like took in Lorelai and Rory whenever.
Oh yeah,
I'm flaking on her name.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
The you know, like the awkward times when like her and Emily have like crossed paths. So it's like yeah, like this book would be a fascinating read to pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Except for Emily.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a little bit of compromise there too. Like, okay, well, but maybe just don't say this story, this one, or maybe this one.
Like you're writing this novel. I mean, it's not like a fucking. It doesn't need to be like a Stephen King book. Like, we don't need the play-by-play on every minute of the day. Like, you can leave a few out. It's like, if it wasn't like a growing, like, you know, moment, like, cut it. Just leave that one out.
I don't need to know the descriptions of all the hobbits.
Nope. Painstaking detail.
Jesus!
But yeah, like, they could work around that.
I did think that because this, like I said earlier, it is a funny episode, and this was, I think I mentioned this last time, that this was never really been one of my favorite characters, but even Michelle I thought had really good moments in this episode.
Yeah, like he actually came across as very.
He was actually kind of humanized for once.
Yeah, like I was trying to think of a better way to phrase it, but like, yeah, like he came across as very human. Like he wasn't just like spewing out like sassy dialogue or anything. It was just like, it's like, look, like I'm at a point like I need to either be doing something more, or moving on.
Yeah, it was a really good scene.
If we can't do that here, I gotta go. And it really worked. Like he wasn't like it wasn't one of their like weird like back and forth like pissy like catty dialogue like bicker
not at
fights
all
or anything. Like it was actually just like one of the few weird times where he actually just stops and is like, it's like, look, like cards on the table. This is what it is.
Yeah, there were a couple of
moments like, I want to stay here, but there's nothing here for me to stay for.
The stuff with him trying to like bond with kids was funny. That scene was really good. They actually like in these few moments, this character actually really kind of grew.
Yeah, he grew more during this episode than he did during the course of the show, I feel.
Honestly, yeah. And the only other time that kind of humanized his character other than this a little bit was that there was later in the series, the one where she went to go get him back and he was working at like that, was he working at a hair salon or something like that? Or like a department store? Like that was a good scene with him. But no, this was, I really, really enjoyed him in this episode.
But yeah, I think it's just because, yeah, with the exception of a few like standout episodes, like he was always one of those characters he's there and this is his shtick and that's his deal. You know, it's sort of like Jackson in a lot of episodes, is that he's there because he's like the aloof guy and you need him there to just be like completely oblivious to some situation.
Jackson was really never one of my favorites, honestly. He's more often than not, he would come across as just kind of a D-bag to me. Not to the level of Dean or anything like that. It was just Jackson and Michelle are both characters where it's like you either like their shtick, and if you do, you're really gonna like those characters. If you don't, it's not like I groan every time they're on screen. It's not anything like that. But
at least it's the sort of thing like whether you like it or don't, like it's in measured doses. Like
totally, yeah.
Like it's never like, and here's a whole episode of us following around Jackson. What you up to today, man?
Yeah.
Like it's
like they never did like the Backdoor Jackson pilot like they did that Jess episode. Honestly, I didn't mind that episode. The Backdoor pilot with Jess going to like Venice Beach. Yeah, I didn't mind that, honestly.
I still wish we could have got that show.
Same here. I would have watched it. I would have watched the hell out of that. It was weird how they brought back, like, Sherilyn Fenn to play, like, Luke's ex-girlfriend, and she was Jess's, stepmom, or, like, what? She was his dad's girlfriend, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how, because he goes out there, and it turns out that, like, she's out there living there, too, and they run into each other and know each other, so they, like...
Yeah, it was like, because he went there because his dad was out there.
Yeah.
And she was his dad's girlfriend, I think. Something like that.
Fuck, and then I cannot remember.
And then later she shows... I've only seen that episode once, but like... but then later on, Sherilyn Fenn comes back as a different character.
It's like, just an odd way. It's like, we really want to use her. Just, we got to figure it out.
I guess it's not weirder than, like, the first time it shows Kirk, his name is, like, Mark or something like that, and he says he just moved to town. He's
one of Kirk's twin brothers that apparently got dropped.
That is our theory, that Kirk is secretly like McAvoy from Split or something. There's several of them. There's some, like, it's fucking Dead Ringers, where no one knows his twins.
Just everyone always sees like, oh no, he lives down that road, I think. Like, I don't know.
I would enjoy that twist.
It would explain all of his random side jobs and business startups and everything.
Yeah.
Because I find it so hard to believe that one person could possibly like come up with that many different jobs in one town.
Or like what you were saying, the only reason we can think of that it wasn't Kirk in that Stars Hollow play is that maybe Sean Gunn was like, look, man, I can't sing.
Yeah, this is hilarious stuff, but I can't sing.
I can't sing. I can't dance. I can hang out with the pig for a while.
You want me to be the weird, screechy guy?
I can do that.
I am there.
I can absolutely do that.
All day on that one. Singing.
There was one weird thing about the episode, and it did and this is a totally a tiny thing, but it was
the title card.
Yeah, like that honestly really threw both you and me off.
An odd placement in like somewhere towards like this, like it's in the second half of the episode.
Oh, it totally is, because I thought it was over, like, because it fades to black, and
yeah, there's like a fade out. Like they're talking about like it's like, oh, next week, plan for it. We're going out with Emily to, Richard's graveside. Like there's been a mix up with the headstone. It's a whole shtick. Going out there to take care of that, and they talk about like, okay, that's next week, and then out of nowhere it fades to black, and then just big title card 1 week later. It's like, was that fucking necessary?
I would have assumed at least a few days had passed. Like,
yeah, like during the course of the show, like if it was an episode where like Paris was like, it's like, come on, Rory, we've got to study. The test is on Friday, and it's already Monday. Yeah. And then the next scene is them sitting down to take a test. I'm not going to assume that it's like, pop quiz, everybody, take it now. So you assume that, yes, time has passed. It's a thing that happens in life.
And it's called summer. I know this isn't all just taking place in a few days.
Yeah, and in all the other ones, like, it's been pretty, it's been pretty set with how it goes. Like, it's like you do a scene, and in the next scene, maybe it's a couple days, maybe it's a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of fluid with the flow of time. Like, it's kind of tricky sometimes to tell, like, like, one whole episode will take up like the first half of the episode is one afternoon, and then it jumps around to like each scene after that is a week in between. It's like, it's kind of hard to follow the time flow sometimes, but I mean, hell, even on like the normal episodes, it's kind of that way sometimes. Like there'll be a scene with like, it's like, like it'll show like Lorelai on the phone with Christopher, and then like the next scene after what was probably a commercial break, to be like, Rory told me, like, Mom, come on, you gotta talk to Dad again. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, apparently it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it is such a little thing. I mean, it is, but it was entirely noticeable, especially since it happened so late in the episode that I seriously thought, like, the executive producer credit was gonna pop up.
But yeah, it's like one of those things, like, when you go to see, when you go to see some movies and, like, it maybe does like one or two small location changes, but then they go somewhere like really different, and suddenly there's a title card to let you know, like Paris. It's like, okay, well, you didn't tell me when they went from like New York to like Cleveland, but Paris.
All you need to do is you got to do like they always do when you're going somewhere outside the country. You just show a shot of Big Ben. You're just like do 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 do.
You cut to the Eiffel Tower, and then you cut to like, like someone on a bicycle. Because if you cut to the Eiffel Tower, you could be in Paris, or you could be in Las Vegas.
Or how about when they always cut to like fucking like Turkey or something, and it fucking looks like Temple of Doom. And there's always that guy on the soundtrack.
Like, oh, so clearly we're in the East. Got it, guys. Yep, bunch of sand and shit. Somebody like do like mystic yodeling. Like, all right, got it.
That's how we know where we are.
Cut to Ishtar.
Hell yeah. Any final thoughts about it?
One last little thing, and then I'm good. It's just this one, while it didn't like throw Rachel Ray at us again.
That's true.
It did have a scene where Luke was mentioning, like, it's like, oh, I've got to get back to the diner to, like, check on, like, some biscuits I was making because celebrity chef Sandra Lee canceled on going to do, like, like be the chef at your restaurant after talking to other celebrity chef Ina Garten about it. It's like, stop naming celebrity chefs.
And I completely even missed that. I missed that line.
It was real quick, like after everybody like left the diner when they were fighting.
Okay.
But yeah, like throwing out the names of more celebrity chefs.
I missed that, but yeah, if I had caught that, I probably would have reacted the same way as you did.
Like, if this goes on much longer with them throwing that out there, it's like, yeah, I talking to fucking Bobby Flay in the kitchen the other day, and he's like, I do it this way. I'm like, enough with this. I went through this with Alton Brown already. Like, that's where I'm waiting for this to go. The way that it's been so far.
Like, I'm totally cool with, like, you know, when Carole King starts singing I Feel the Earth Move. One, she's not playing herself, and two, she was on the show as the record shop or the music shop owner. That was kind of a funny joke.
Yeah, it was just a fun moment. Like, it's like, well, because of legal issues, we can't exactly end our Stars Hollow musical on 9 back-to-back ABBA songs. It's like, oh, well, you know, I've written a few songs. Like, let me play one. Dun, 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 dun.
I thought for sure she was going to sing the theme song. Like, would that have been too on the nose? It was a pre-existing song before Gilmore Girls.
Well, it would have been nice, especially because, like so far with all of these, they kind of segue right into the episode. There's no, like, title sequence.
Yeah.
So we actually haven't even heard the theme song.
No. We thought we were going to the last episode where in the first 5 minutes it kind of faded to black into another scene, and we were expecting, oh, this is
this is where it puts
on your own.
Yeah, this is where it puts in the cut, and then it cuts to like trees.
Yeah, it cuts to the trees.
And it's like, well, maybe they can't get the licensing for it. Like, but she's right there.
She's
like,
there. You can ask her.
It's like, Carol, can we use your song?
Please, come on.
We've used it 300 other times.
Yeah. Ready to finish our Chinese food and watch the last episode. All right. See ya.